All right, y'all. We are live. We are live. We are back. It's a couple days after we recapped Paris, which was crazy. But today we're gonna dive in and talk about Prefontaine Classic. Prefontaine Classic going down. It actually starts this Friday, July 3rd. They're gonna have a few events on the Friday, and then Saturday is gonna be the main program. I don't know if it's like main program, but like Friday has like high quality events, and then Saturday also has high quality. They're just like splitting it. But we're gonna dive in, talk about Prefontaine, just preview the different events going down on Friday and Saturday. We'll talk a little bit, obviously. Last week I did speak about the men's 100. We'll talk about that at the end since I already did kind of preview it last time, but for today we'll dive in specifically focusing in on that women's 100 because obviously that's stacked. You know what I mean? That's like that actually, this is probably it's definitely the biggest women's 100-meter race that we'll see in 2026 up to this point, right? So I'm excited. So we'll dive in with Prefontaine today, but yeah, we are back. We are back live and direct. Appreciate y'all for rocking. Good to see you. Yeah, Prefontaine is gonna be hot, and yeah, it's gonna be crazy. The women's 100, the women's 400. Women's 400 had a lot of changes. What do you call it? Women's 100-meter hurdles is going to be crazy. The men's 100 we'll talk about, and then also, I'm interested to have I guess like a discussion around like who are some of the top world beaters in a sense, and like what y'all think of world beaters. Because I was saying that Trayvon Bromell is like he's been a world beater for a long time, but like, is he actually a world beater if he doesn't have a gold medal? I don't know, but we're gonna talk about it. We'll talk about that at the end. Oh yeah, the NCAA Prefontaine, like NCAA's was probably the best thing that happened to Prefontaine. Like it's one of the best things that happened to Prefontaine. We got to be honest. All those performances at NCAA's in Eugene. Obviously, everyone knows that Eugene is fast. And obviously, everyone knows that Prefontaine produces great marks, right? But this NCAA championships a couple weeks ago was the best promotion for Prefontaine. And if anything, to be able to bring in some of the top athletes to be like, I was maybe on the fence of coming to Prefontaine. Nah, after that, let me sign up. We at the beginning of July, right? Basically in the middle of the season, whatever. Like athletes are on their high, and we get to run on one of the fastest tracks in the world. Sign me up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, NCAA's was a big, advertisement. So they got their money's worth. Yeah, this is interesting. So many implications. I think there's a lot of implications, definitely for USA's, obviously, because it's like there's obviously majority Americans. I mean, the men's 400 is basically all Americans, and then you have two, athletes from Botswana. But then there's also other implications, right? So I think of Demisha Smith in the women's 100. What does her form look like going over into European championships, right? Well, Keely Hodgkinson, we're going to see her in the 800. What does she look like, going into European champs as well, right? We're going to see the we'll take a look at the 400 for the women, but like I forget if Henriette Jaeger and is in that field. I think Natalia Bukowiecka is in that field. Like that's going to be something interesting. Same thing, the field events, bro. We're going to talk about the women's long jump, and like the field events are crazy. Like the women's long jump is basically a world championship final. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. So I did see Ryan Krauser. He pulled out probably due to some injury or something, but it was wild. It's wild. So yeah. And the pros have a chance to show those college athletes like Ajayi, Hodge, Starp, and Kendrick Smallwood in there too. I think Oakley, what's up? Shame no Ogazi. Yeah, unfortunately no Ogazi. But that's true, especially in the men's 100. It's like, okay, sure. Ajayi, you want to run a windy 9.7? Slightly windy? Cool. Oblique Seville, Kenny B. They're going to show something. Or this is their moment to show something. Same thing. Jacoby Tharp, you want to break the world record? All right. Jamal Britt is running 12.8 and he's consistent around the world. What do you got now? So I don't know. That is something. Okay. Yeah. Trivia. Let me know. What's the question? I would love some trivia as we'll get started in a few, but yeah. What's the question? Europeans is still a while away, mid-August, but London Diamond League, definitely the last big meet before Commonwealth and Europeans for most athletes. Yeah, well, London and Monaco, right? I think Monaco is before, what do you call it? You'll have, oh, no, London, you're right, my bad. You're right, because, yeah, you have Eugene, and then you have Monaco, and then you have London. So good point. Yeah, so these next three. So good point. Yeah, that London Diamond League is a... Yeah, thanks for that cross check. My bad. So it's a good point. Okay, so yeah, London is the last one. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about it like from certain of these European athletes. Like I guess Adina is like she's coming off her British champ. So okay, what form do you look like against some of these other top women? But yeah, it's a good point. London probably definitely the last one, major one. Juju, she's not hurt. She just never was signed up for Prefontaine. And yeah, I don't know. I know there was a rumor that Julian was going to be racing at Prefontaine, but she was never signed up. I think people were confusing last year. So I don't think she's hurt. I think she just is not signed up for here. I think she's going to be at London. But we'll see. Yeah, London, July 18th. Okay. Commonwealth Games 100 is going to be good. I agree. Yup. Absolutely. And I'll get to the question dynamics in a second. Even though no big Jamaicans, yeah, that's true. Commonwealth Games should still be very good. That men's 100 is stacked. South Africans, you got some obviously all the Australian, it's gonna be stacked. Krauser injured, he'll come back and win the whole thing like always. Maybe. There's no shot put at the World Ultimate Champs though. So there's no like major goal for him this year. Oh yeah, and Julian is announced for the 200 in Monaco. Yeah, so Julian's not injured. It's probably like the field was already stacked and they probably tried to get Julian, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know like why Julian's not in the field. Yeah, no, of course. But I do agree with you too that like London is definitely like the last one. Here, Monaco, London, and then going into Commonwealth and European. So that's it. But okay, so let me just get to the dynamics question, and then I'll get to the Demisha Roswell as well. So outside of Marie-José Perec, Sonia Richards-Ross, Olga Brzezina, Shawnee Miller-Weebo, Allison Felix, Kathy Freeman, who is the other female with 4 individual medals in the 400? Oh, my bad. So minimum 3 individual medals. Individual medals, there's 2 other... Okay, so there's 2 other women. So you said Sonia... Okay, so Marie-José Perec, right? She has 92, 90... Marie-José Perec has 4 medals. 91, 92, 95, 96. Sonia has a whole bunch, right? 2005. Well, I'm naming them, but I think it is 2 other females. So it has to be Marlita Paulino, right? Paulino has 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. Wow, she has a lot. That's crazy. So Paulino definitely. You have, let's see. Paulino's 1. Let me see. Does 19, 24, 25? No. Huh. Oh, okay. Nasser has 4, right? Nasser has 2017, right? She got silver. 2019, she got gold. 2024, she got silver. 2025, she got bronze. So Nasser, right? And then let me see. Does Anna Guevara know? Anna Guevara has 2. 4 medals. I think maybe. Oh, non-active. Okay. Non-active. Okay, so well, my bad. And now I'm looking at the chat. So maybe it is Christina Hurugu. Does Christina Hurugu has 2007, 2008, 2013, or 2012 and 2013? Okay, so then, Guevara. Anna Guevara has 2004, 2003, 2005, and then does she have 2002? 3, 4, 5. Does she have a medal in 2001? I don't remember. Maybe now I'm forgetting Anna Guevara. Like, what are the medals? What other medal does Anna Guevara have? Like 4 medals. I know she has the Olympics. She was at the World Champs in 2003 and 2005. Am I missing? Am I missing one? I guess I swear I don't remember. I don't remember what Ana Guevara has. But I mean, I believe it. You obviously, I haven't looked, so I believe it. But okay, she does have 2001. I did not remember that she had in 2001. So that's fair. Oh man. Okay, so Ana Guevara and Christina Hrugu. Got it. Okay, dope. Look, that is crazy. Okay, she has bronze in 2001. Got it. Okay. And yeah, I was trying to like stay out the chat, so I was like trying to get it in my mind. But okay, that makes sense. That's actually pretty interesting. And then yeah, you add in Paulino, you add in Sawi Nasser. That's actually cool because you got a lot. Damn, that's a lot of women with 4 medals. That's a lot of women. Marie-José Perec, at least 4 medals, right? Perec, Sonia Richards-Ross, Olga Brzezina, Shauna Miller-Wiebo, Allison Felix, Kathy Freeman. Even Kathy Freeman, that's crazy. Kathy Freeman had a career. Yeah, Kathy Freeman got back-to-back medals in 97, 99, well, everything, 96, 97, 99, and 2000, which is crazy. Yeah, man, what's crazy to me, what's crazy to me is that all these women, like, I guess there's been women who have been so dominant in the 400 throughout different generations, but then there's, I guess, been a consistent number of women behind them as well, right? So in the era that Allison Felix was getting, well, I guess she came a little after Sonia, but like you had Sonia and Ana Guevara. Ana Guevara was like right before Sonia. Then you had Sonia, and then you had Allison Felix. But at that same time of Sonia and Felix, you had Christina Hrugu, and then Kathy Freeman and Marie-José Perec. They kind of like bounced off each other. And then obviously after Felix, or I guess during/after, was Shauna Miller-Wiebo. And then after that was now Marley Paulino, which is interesting. And then obviously you go back in the day, it's like, you know, Brzezina, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it's interesting looking at the different generations of the women's 400. Yeah, Dion Hemmings has the 4 medals, just like in the 400 hurdles though, which is, I know you were referring to, which is a good point. And yeah, 4 is a lot, because that's in any event, getting 4 medals is a lot. It's a lot, which is crazy. What do you call it? Do you expect a new, we'll talk about the men's 100 if I expect a new world lead. We'll dive into Prefontaine in a second right now. Yeah, the Demisha Roswell thing, let me just say this about, in general, obviously ridiculous what the JAAA did to Demisha Roswell. And for people who don't know, apparently so Demisha Roswell, she won the Jamaican national championships in the 100-meter hurdles. She ran 12.40 seconds, personal best, dominant performance. But she is not able to go to Commonwealth Games because the JAAA did not put her down as one of the athletes who could potentially be part of, you know, Team Jamaica. So apparently in March, all countries have to put down a long list of athletes who might even be possibly in contention to be picked for the team. So just a long list of athletes. For whatever reason, Demisha Roswell, again, who was the Jamaican national champion, wasn't put on that list in March. So even though she won, and apparently you can't send any athlete to the Commonwealth Games if they were not on that long list. So they take that long list and then they narrow it down after the national championships. Demisha Roswell was not on that list, so she can't go to Commonwealth Games. The JAAA, they apologize. So obviously it's terrible, right? They give an apology, but it's like it doesn't make up for her not being able to go to Commonwealth Games. And she was very vocal about not having funds and things like that to support herself. But that's one big thing. The other big thing as well that I didn't even know is you have to submit this massive long list. And apparently it's for Commonwealth Games and Olympics, which is weird. I didn't know that. And it's also, I don't know, I guess it's weird because it's like, I guess for any country, you have to submit this very long list of athletes like months before. Like, how can you even predict that? What if there's like an NCAA athlete who just pops off at NCAA champs, and then they get to, you know, their national championships, but they weren't on that original list? Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. And this is a good point. How did Lavanya Williams? That's a good point, because Lavanya didn't pop off until May at definitely, in my opinion, I think May at the Miramar invite. But I definitely was not as familiar with Lavanya before then. But if you were familiar with Demisha Roswell, no way you were not nowhere you're familiar with Lavanya Williams, right? Like Demisha Roswell had a bigger profile. Demisha Roswell had made multiple Jamaican national championship finals in the hurdles, even if she hadn't made a team. Like, it didn't make sense. She had run 12-4 in the past. So it was crazy. But yeah, that's something that's wild. All right, we about to dive into Prefontaine. Let's see. Yeah, let's dive in and talk about Prefontaine. Let me see. Okay, yeah, maybe we can maybe do this at the end. Let's do this at the end for sure. Because yeah, I mean that'd be hard. Yeah, after Prefontaine, let's talk about that. So in terms of time predictions for the which championship records and all that. So all right, so we're gonna go through a couple, and I'm saving this comment just for context because we'll circle back to this. So we'll dive into this Prefontaine Classic. So this is going down again July 3rd to July 4th, and let's start with just a couple. Oh, actually, for context, well, afterwards, if you're watching this later, I'm going to link in the description this specific link because these schedules and these entries are actually up to date. The ones on the Diamond League website are not up to date. And I was just cross-checking it. So we can actually just start off with the women's 400, and I'll just show you why it's not up to date. Let's see here. So women's 400, this is going down on Friday. And so just for context, you could see we have Rashida Adeleke, we have Amber Anning, Aaliyah Butler, Sanira Butler, you have Alexis Holmes, you have Dejanay Oakley, Ella Onojuevo, you have Martina Veal, and Stacey Ann Williams. So you could see that this actually is the field for Prefontaine. But if you remember, previously, Paulino and Nasser were in this field, but they pulled out. So Marlita Paulino, Sawi Nasser, they both pulled out. So now this is the official field. So again, if you're watching this later, go in the description. I'll link this actual thing. I don't know. And this is Tuesday, so they'll update it, obviously. But I was kind of going back and forth with it. So just on this women's 400, I think a couple of interesting storylines. Amber Anning. Well, first we lost Marlita Paulino, and she just ran 48.4. She probably was like, yo, I just ran in Paris, 48.4. No reason to go to Eugene and like overexert myself when I am dominating the world, right? No need to do all that. But Amber Anning, she's coming off British national champs, just ran 50.1. So she's in some good form. Aaliyah Butler has already run 49.7 this year. Stacey Ann Williams has been on a roll. She's run 49.4. You have Ella, who's already run 49.5. Dejanay Oakley, I guess you can argue, is the favorite in this field, having run 48.8 on this track. The only reason I'm slightly hesitating is because she's coming off NCAA champ. So you're going to see throughout, I'm being very hesitant with these women with these women and men who are coming out of the NCAAs. We're going to talk about like a Deja Hodge in the women's 100. Like, I'm being hesitant, but I think Dejanay Oakley probably has a big step on the rest of this field. Shout out to Alexis Holmes, Naira Butler, Rashida Adeleke. Like, I don't know. I think she ran 1/400 this year. Maybe she ran one race or 1 or 2 races this year, but I think she's been dealing with injury. So question mark on what her status is, but we'll see what the women's 400 is. I think the discussion is to see what Dejanay Oakley is able to do coming off NCAAs and what everyone else is able to do around her. So shout out to the women's 400. I'm going to run through a couple different ones real quick because I want to dive into some heavy hitters. But men's 110 hurdles, this is another one where, we're bouncing back off of a good race in Paris. But here we got Dylan Beard, we got Orlando Bennett, and Orlando Bennett has been kind of up and down throughout the year. We have Jamal Britt coming off that 12.89 just last week in Paris. Well, a couple days ago in Paris. Jamar Marshall, you have Kendry Menendez. Menendez he's been cooking. Like, Menendez has been cooking, right? And he's relatively young. Demario Prince, you have Kendrick Smallwood, did really well at NCAAs. He ran 13.09, I think, in Paris in the heats, but then he kind of didn't do well in the final. So TBD on how he does here. Cordell Tinch, obviously world champion from last year, and he's bouncing back. But Jacoby Tharp, world record holder, NCAA champion, 12.75, and he backed that up with a 12.9 as well. So he is the guy that everyone is chasing here. And the question is, okay, cool. You did that at NCAAs, but Jamal Britt is having, a dream season to a degree, similar to, Jacoby Tharp, but he just came off 12.8 and he's been getting better and better. is Jacoby Tharp able to maintain that consistency that he showed in the NCAA and peaking for NCAAs and take down this field? Or are pros like a Jamal Britt, maybe Cordell Tinch, though he's been a little more mixed, are they able to take you down, right? That's what I think everyone's target is going to be on. Well, Jacoby Tharp has a target on his back, but how does everyone actually respond to him in this field? And how does he respond to everyone else? So we'll see how that actually does go down, but this is going to be a good men's 110 hurdle field. After that, shout out to the women's long jump. I am very, very excited for this women's long jump. I know not everyone follows the long jump, but listen, I am excited for this women's long jump. It's going to be very, very, very high quality. You're talking about, Monet Nichols, who's been on fire this year, a windy 7 meters, but she did jump 6'9". You have Malaika Mihambo, obviously former Olympic champion, reigning Olympic silver medalist. She's been dealing with ups and downs. Hillary Kapcha, who's always been, he's been a consistent name across the board. Alyssa Jones finally got her NCAA title in the long jump. She jumped 709. No, I think 709. Someone could cross check. My bad. But she jumped very, very far this year. Took the world lead away from Alexis Brown, who previously had it this year at 707 earlier at the Tom Jones Memorial. So it was Alexis Brown had the world lead. Alyssa Jones broke that world lead. And then Tara Davis-Woodhull re-broke that world lead. Okay, it was 709. Thanks. I was trying to remember exactly. But because I was trying to cross check because Tara Davis-Woodhull has an NCAA record at 714, I think. But Alexis Brown didn't break it. But regardless, Tara Davis-Woodhull, she jumped 725 at the LA Grand Prix. So you have the 3 farthest jumpers in the world. You add in the likes of Monet Nichols, Malaika Mihambo, Hillary Kapcha. You add in Larissa Iapicino, right? She just got a medal at the World Indoor Champs. You add in Claire Bryant, last year's World Indoor Champion. Like this, honestly, again, I know Aaron's going to come for the field events. I know people are not going to be entertained by the field events, but this long jump is crazy. Like it's honestly crazy. And Eugene produces some high quality performances. So listen, I don't 730. Listen, it might be. I mean, let me not say I'm not. I can't go that far because that's crazy. That's crazy. But like we could see some serious damage. Tara could really do some damage. Don't sleep on Maja too. And I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but she's developing well too. Yeah. Listen. It could. She could. I'm actually not as familiar with Maja. I'll circle back, but I'm gonna definitely take a look. But I'm excited. Listen, I'm excited for this long jump competition. Like, this is good. I want to see Tara Davis-Woodhull get pushed by these other women. Alyssa Jones, this might be a crazy take, but like I think Alyssa Jones coming out of the NCAA might be one of the best athletes to actually perform at this Prefontaine Classic. For whatever reason, I think a field eventer is more likely to have success in a competition with the pros coming off NCAAs for whatever reason. I don't have like a scientific, thought process behind it, but a simple idea that they get more attempts. There's a little more energy that they can feed off of as they go throughout the rounds. And Alyssa Jones has a bigger room, more room to fall, right? So if she jumps like 6'9" or 6'8", she's probably going to be in the top, 5 or so, and potentially have a chance at the top 3 who get the last 3 jumps. So I don't know. Keep a lookout for Alyssa Jones, but this whole field, man, this whole field. So shout out to the women's long jump. Let's take a look at I spoke a little bit about this already, but last time, but men's 400. So this actually did change a little bit since, we just spoke about it on on Sunday, right? And it's already Tuesday. Wow. So with the men's 400, a few changes. So Bapun Dori, I think, was in the field, and Quincy Hall were in the field. Both of them are no longer in this field. I spoke about Quincy Hall. He posts on Instagram that he's dealing with injuries. So instead, you have Ezekiel Nathaniel added to the field, 400-meter hurdler, and then you have Vernon Norwood added to the field. So now you got Buseng, Colin Kemenasipi, right? He's in the field, 43-2. I don't know. But you got, listen, I don't know. You got Rai Benjamin, question marks, because we haven't seen him compete. Kayla McCrae, he's been, obviously got the, I don't know, it wasn't ratified, but he got the world record indoors, even though it's obviously not the world record in terms of fastest time, but is what it is. Ezekiel Nathaniel, like I said, he actually did very well at the Lone Star Grand Prix. Michael Norman, I'll circle back in a second. Vernon Norwood, Ja'Cory Patterson, he won in Rabat. Chris Robinson, 400 hurdler, and Chris Bailey, who of course just got a personal best in Paris. So this is a high quality field. Let me see. Before I just go into this, I just want to highlight before I move on from the long jump. I don't think it will in terms of the long jump, but it could be dangerous up in here if the conditions are correct for the long jump. Tara definitely cannot rest here. There are no guaranteed 7 meter. There's no guarantee 7 meters can win pre. 100% agree. 100% agree. So good point there. Things to look out for here. Busang, how does he compete here? Because he in his races, he's been saying that like he's not going as full out in the first kind of like 200, 250, and he's leaving enough where he can essentially kick home, right? He's doing like a sitting kick tactic. Like he actually has said he always makes sure that he has enough in the last 100 to run anyone down. How does he react here? Now, this actually may not be as high quality, and I guess this is no disrespect, right? But like just being on paper, like this isn't as high quality of a field from what we've seen in Paris, right? Where you have Zakiti Nene, or I'm thinking no one in this field has broken 43 seconds or 44 seconds this year, right? So I think that Busang, I'm just interested to see what kind of tactics he uses. And TRP dropped a video on it. Okay, so he was talking about his tactics. Yeah, like I'm interested to see how he approaches this. Is he thinking about this field like, okay, no one has broken 44 seconds in this field this year? And you look at guys like Michael Norman, who obviously Michael Norman is, well, who knows, but not in 44 second shape. Check out the interview he did with Real Talk with T, where he's just like, goal is to stay healthy. Even though he did say, like, he said, Coach Flo said, okay, goal for 2026 is stay healthy. But then after like some of his races, Coach Flo was like, all right, we want to run, what I'm saying? He want to run fast. So I don't know. But essentially Busang might be thinking of Michael like, okay, he's not like in sub 44 second shape. He's not in 43.5 shape, right? Personal best shape. Rai Benjamin hasn't raced this year, right? Or he raced once in Tokyo, but in a long time. Chris Bailey's coming off a personal best, but Busang just took him down, right? Ja'Cory Patterson, he's in good form, but what's his status? Vernon Norwood, he's run 44.4 this year. So essentially, and Caleb McRae, he's also in good form, but he got he's in decent form, right? Not like the sub 44 second form, personal best form yet. So all of this, I'm thinking about how is Busang assessing this race? Because I think that's going to affect how he actually does run. He's probably going to leave a little bit in for that last half, and then he's going to kick home like a 1500 meter runner, right? Like, which I feel like most of us want Busang to go all out as hard as he can here, because we just saw him run that 43.5, right? Almost breaking his personal best. And he's running in Eugene. So if we get good weather, this could be the time where it's like, it's all or nothing, right? Sure, you could wait till Budapest at the end of the year. Sure, we could wait till, the Diamond League final. But like this track and this weather and this energy, well, I don't know if the energy will be good, but like I'm just thinking of like World Ultimate Champs, whatever that will be. But listen, man, I think we all want Busang to take advantage of this opportunity, but who knows what he might do? He might be assessing this field and be like, hey, listen, man, I don't know. It's okay. I'm gonna just, cruise it in, because I'm like, nah, we want to see something good. So I don't know. I do agree. I want Ogazi running with Busang. I do. But like, listen, I wouldn't, if it was Ogazi versus Busang in this race, there's no world where I'm picking Ogazi to beat Busang. Like, there's no world. And I'll say this, if Busang was in that race with Ogazi at the NCAA champs, I think Busang gets close to or potentially breaks the world record. I think Busang is turning into one of the 400 runners who's able to execute their race, and it just has so much like race intelligence. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I just think Busang is getting very, very different, right? Colin is cooking. So, Nene hadn't broken 43 before that. No, he did. So Zakiti Nene, before Paris, where he ran 43.8, he had run 43.7 last year. So this year either. I don't see why no one having run 40. 43 yet would have affected Busang's race plan. Well, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Before the race this year. True. But I think I'm thinking about it like Busang and Colin, I'm calling him Busang, Colin, whatever. Like him assessing the field, right? So he just took down arguably a better field in Paris. Arguably, right? So now he's coming into a field where it's like, who is going to be able to run? What are the chances that someone runs 43.6 or 43.7 in this race, right? No one in this field has a personal best faster than 43.9, except for Michael Norman. But Michael Norman, we know he's not in that form. So I wonder if that's, how Colin is calculating his strategy for this 400. Because again, clearly he is a calculated runner. Like he is literally leaving, saving energy for the last 100, assessing the field and saying, okay, let me go kick because, I'm in third place, right? Like, so I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what's up with Busang here. Yeah, Busang's ready to blow up the Americans in their home meet as punishment for chickening out of the world relays. Listen, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, does he run to win or run all out to get a big mark? That's what I want, man. That's what I want. So I don't know. But we'll see. Business as usual for Busang. He will not deviate from this race plan and risk losing. Wants to maintain bragging rights over the Americans. And yeah, and also to kind of get to this point, let me see, my bad. To kind of like get to this point, kind of they're connected. I do think there's an aspect of like the Botswana, well, Busang and then Letsile and all these other guys. I think they are disappointed that USA didn't send a good 4x4 or didn't send any 4x4 to World Relays. And they're like, in this case, only Colleen is like, let me show y'all how it's done on your field. Now, obviously, we are all picking Colleen to win this. And I think it's a different question on if all the Americans were in 100% full fitness and actually sent a team to World Relays. I don't know if it'd be like Botswana definitely walks them, but I think individually now it's hard to say that Colleen is not the guy. But I think there is that tit for tat, that like kind of back and forth, which I like. That like, yo, y'all ain't come to our hometown. All right, let me come to your hometown and show y'all what it's like. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but the other thing, I'm just interested to see what form Rai Benjamin is in. I don't think it's Nike, so who knows? But I was going to say, I don't think he runs if he's not in some good form, but it'll be interesting to see, how he actually does show up here. So listen, it's all about Colin Kebanatsipi, okay. Yeah. If America would have showed up, Botswana would have broken the world record. I think if America would have showed up to World Relays and everyone was in tip-top shape, I think we see three. No, that's a lot. Maybe both teams under the world record. That's what I think. I don't think it would have been Botswana walks them. I do think Botswana probably would have won because they were at home, had the momentum. But like, I do think at peak form, both teams are very formidable, like very formidable. So I don't know. And yeah, I have to really put it in context. Like running on the relays is very different. Vernon Norwood was out at Paris splitting 43-2, walking down people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously Vernon has never broken 44 seconds in his career, but he knows how to show up when it's like time to show up, right? Vernon, shout out to Quincy Watts, not Quincy Watts, my bad. So many Quincy's, Quincy Watts, Quincy Hall, Quincy Wilson, but Vernon had to kind of save that relay because Quincy was injured. And Vernon was like, yo, I got to run 43 seconds to get, into that final. And then, while I was at Paris, during the mix zone, Vernon told me, he was like, yo, I'm running 43 seconds tomorrow again. Don't worry. Comes back, runs 43-2. He's like, I told you. You know what I'm saying? So Vernon Norwood is different on a relay. Like I'm saying all this to say he's different on a relay. All these athletes are different, right? Rai Benjamin splits 43-1 on a relay, having never broken 44 seconds in his career, right? So Chris Bailey from the blocks runs 44-4. Like all these things, Bryce Debman, he splits 43-5. It's like, so all of this is to say, I think Botswana versus USA is much closer still to this day than we think. It's just that Botswana definitely has the momentum right now because all these athletes were different. But even like going back to 2024, Busang was splitting 43-3, right? 43-4. Like, man, I need to see this 4x4. Like, I need to see this. All right. Yeah, we need that rivalry. Otherwise, what's the point? Yes. Americans will fight hard not to lose any of these races on the 4th of July on home soil. Others will want to beat them. Yeah, it's true. They're gonna fight. But like, I don't know if anyone's picking against Colleen in this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Aaron, you crazy. America would have been 3rd right behind South Africa. It would have been close. Let me see. South Africa gave Botswana a big push. Yup, with Pile's sub 43 at 42.6. Colleen running 42.9 this year. Man, if someone actually runs 42.9, I might just, I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's what's crazy. It's not crazy. I feel like this race is similar to how people feel about Sydney's chances before the Worlds in the 400 for Rye. Too little data to suggest if she can translate the 400 meter speed to the open 400 meter hurdle speed to open 400. Yeah, but I feel like Sydney had more data in the 400 than Rye, because Sydney at least had that year of 2023, right, where she ran 43.7, and then she got injured. So I feel like at least for Sydney, she had a little bit more data, and yeah, I think that's why. But it's a good point. I think there's a comparison there for sure. Vernon and all these guys are relay merchants and relay band. Don't sleep on Vernon, man. He got 4th place at the World Champs, like barely got edged out in 2023. So, but he cooks. I mean, and I'm talking about in the open 400. All right. So, let's see. Okay, let me go, because I want to get through all these events. Okay, let me move over. My bad. Men's 400. What did I have after this? Oh, women's 100. Well, yeah, let me do women's 100 hurdles real quick. We had, what's going on here? My bad. Women's 100 hurdles. So women's 100 hurdles, this is another stacked field, right? Like, this is completely stacked to the gills in terms of, high quality athletes. You got Toby Amisan, who I think, Toby Amisan, Devin Charlton, Kenny Harrison, Alacia Johnson, Tonia Marshall, Akira Nugent, Masai Russell, Grace Stark, Daniel Williams. Like, this is stacked, but just like any other race, right? Like, just like any other women's 100 meter hurdle race. And yes, I think most people can agree it's probably world record watch. Now, I think we should be very careful and not only count Masai Russell and also look at Toby Amisan, right? Now, I think most of us can agree that Masai Russell is probably the favorite to win this race and, potentially get that world record, but definitely win. But I don't know, man. Toby is scary. We got to be honest. Toby Amisan is kind of scary. Like, she's very, very scary. Now, the thing is, and yeah, I see, follow like you said, Toby working too hard for her 12.2s. I think Toby obviously is not doing great in the first half of her race, and she's, having to come from behind. And she's done this in previous like championships and all these kinds of things before, and in just regular races. But I do think Toby is going to give Masai a very good run for her money. Very good run for her money. Now, Masai, though, as a couple of y'all said, right, like that, she looked, that 12.2 that she ran in LA was so easy, so smooth, so easy. Came off the 10th hurdle, was looking to the side like, oh, now I got this, like easing off. And she skipped out on Paris. And I bet she got an invite for Paris, but it's like, she's a Nike athlete. Prefontaine is the big one. And she's been very vocal of the world record. But even outside of the world record, I really, really think Masai versus Toby. I mean, I don't know if I'm, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like amping up Toby a little bit more. I do think Masai is the most dominant and is going to win this race, in my opinion. Like, anything can happen, but I think she's the favorite for this race. But I don't know. There's something about Toby that she's had a lot of momentum, right? She has a lot of momentum. Yeah, okay. So Masai's a better all-around hurdler, but Toby got the speed and power to take it. It's gonna be tough. Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough. What do you call it? Masai, easy win. Man, easy. I think Masai got things figured out. Yeah, she got a slower start, but once she's got it, Toby runs them down. Look at Toby's splits in Paris. That's a good point, right? Toby was like, it's like Toby didn't start running until the second half. It's like she ran like what Colleen runs in the 400, right? She started kicking in the second half, right? Which is crazy. The thing is, imagine breaking the world record in front of the world record holder on the same track that the world record was previously set. Like, that'd be crazy. But I agree here. Toby and Masai are difficult to choose. Masai and Toby will be close, I think. Masai world record attempt. Yeah, it is. It is. Toby, oh my gosh, Toby about to get the leather applied. I don't know about all that. If Toby gets her start right, it's going to be scary. This is what I mean, man. I really think it's going to be close. Oh, my bad. I have no control over the ads during the lives. I apologize about that. I hope that you can, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. It's all YouTube. It's all YouTube. But let me see. Oh man, Lord God, please let Akira show up for the first time this season. I don't know what's been up with Akira. Obviously, this is her first year back with Glenn Mills down in Jamaica. Toby has been with Glenn Mills for the past 2 years already. So maybe Akira is adjusting to it, to the training, but I don't know. But yeah. And this is why the 100-meter hurdles is goated more than the 100 meters. They do not duck smoke. Why is Alfred ducking BS? I don't know. I mean, Alfred isn't ducking. I don't think she's ducking, but it is what it is. Didn't Toby break the world record? Oh, yes. Good point. Okay. So yes, Kenny Harrison. Well, yes. Kenny Harrison, obviously she held the world record, 12:20. In that semifinals at the World Champs, Kenny Harrison was in that race at the World Champs in 2022. So yes, Toby broke the world record over Kenny. So it could happen again here. But overall, okay, this is a good question too, to just get some of those. Do we think any surprises are possible here? Devin Charlton, Akira Nugent, Grace Stark, some women we haven't seen in a while on American soil, especially at Eugene. So this is what I'll say, and this will enter in. My bad. I'm just trying to run through comments, but I want to get to some other women. Toby Masai, obviously great head-to-head. But when we look at some of the other women, Devin Charlton, I think, is a question mark, right? Look at her last 2 races. In Paris, she didn't even make the final at the Diamond League. And I think it was Zagreb, she didn't do well, right? So unfortunately, as it stands now, and what's crazy is, this is the craziest thing, Devin Charlton has a personal best of 12.37 seconds. She has the slowest personal best. I mean, I did it in quotes, but on paper, she actually has the slowest personal best out of anyone in this field, which is wild to say because of how high quality this field is, right? Toby and Masai both have run 12:1, right? Kenny Harrison, 12:2. Alicia Johnson, 12:31, right? Tonia Marshall has run 12:2. Akira Nugent, 12:2. Grace Stark has run 12:2. Daniel Williams, 12:33. So Devin Charlton has the slowest, and I'll actually just pull it up here just for context to see it. Because I was looking at this the other day. I was like, wait, what? So you could see Devin Charlton has the slowest personal best. She's 12:37. The next slowest is Daniel Williams and Alicia Johnson at 12:31, which is, it just speaks to how high quality this field is, right? Even Kenny Harrison, even though this 12:2, and obviously season's best is different, right? But even this 12:2, she ran back in 2016. But Kenny Harrison back in 2023, she ran 12:2 again. So it just speaks to the high quality. But all that aside, I think out of this entire field, Grace Stark is the one who I would say is the most likely to spoil this party. She's coming off of injury from indoors. I think she ran 1 indoor race and they got injured. She just started running outdoors again. She ran 12:5, 12:4. And then I think most recently in Paris, she just ran 12:38. Yeah, in Paris. I think Grace Stark is the most likely to spoil this party if Toby or Masai gets caught tripping, right? Alicia Johnson also probably has been looking pretty good. Kenny Harrison, a little mixed this season. Akira Nugent obviously hasn't been looking as great. Tania Marshall, unfortunately, hasn't been looking as great. Daniel Williams, a little more mixed as well. But I would say Grace Stark is probably the most likely to spoil the party because she has the most momentum out of any athlete outside of Masai and Toby. So, I actually agree with this. And yeah, just a shout out. Yeah, agreed about Grace. Yes, Grace could shock us all. Agreed about Grace. I agree. I would say Grace was supposed to be the next. I mean, she could be the next. Like Grace just turned pro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Grace just got started. She just got she turned pro in 2024, got her first medal last year, right? And she made the Olympic final in 2024. Like she could do it, right? Because Masai Russell last year, she ran 12:1 for the first time, 2 years after she went pro out of college. This could be Grace's year. Like, who knows, right? But yeah, Grace could be the spoiler, for sure. Yes. Okay. And this is a good point. And sorry, let me also clarify to not like disparage, right? Devon's personal best is one of the most recent personal best, though. So she's way more a threat than Danielle or Akira or Alicia. This is actually a good point. I actually would say that Devon Charlton is. This is what I'll say. If I was to hypothetically order, obviously it's impossible to predict hurdles, but for me, I would say Masai Russell, number one, Toby Amisan, number two, Grace Stark, number three. I would then go to Alicia Johnson, number four, and then Devon Charlton, number five. And then after that, it gets a little questionable. The reason I say Alicia Johnson is because she also has a little more momentum in her last few races compared to Devon Charlton. Devon Charlton, obviously, she popped off really well. Obviously, indoor season, she dominated. And then at the start of the year, out at the Chinese Diamond League, she was cooking as well, behind Masai Russell and Toby. But then in her last couple races, she's been more up and down, most specifically in Paris, where she didn't even make the final. And yes, if y'all watching, make sure to like, subscribe. Appreciate all y'all for being here. But I think with that's what I'm looking at with Devon. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little, that's the questionable part as it stands right now. So I don't know. We'll see. Shout out to Devon and shout out to all these women. But women's 100 hurdles. Now, we're going to talk about the women's 100, but before then, last one before the women's 100 hurdles. And also, just to be clear, like when I'm breaking this down, in my opinion, I think it's Masai and Toby. Like, I think those two very close. I think there's a gap to Grace Stark, small gap, but a gap. And then I think there's a bigger gap to essentially everyone else, in this case, Alicia and Devon Charlton, if that makes sense. I think Toby, Masai, and Grace, I personally think they are a step ahead of everyone. Really, Masai, Toby, step ahead of everyone. So just to give that context. But anything can happen, right? Masai was dominating all season last year, barely clips hurdle 5, and then she's not on the podium at the World Champs. So, anything can happen. But let's move over. Before I get to the women's 100, let's talk about this men's 200, because this is also a good field. We got another really good field for the men's 200. And now we did originally have Gout Gout. We did originally have Kenny B. Again, we're going to talk about the women's 100 in a second, just after this. But now we get those two are gone. Kenny B moved to the men's 100. Gout Gout obviously dealing with back injuries. But we have Letsile Teboho. I think bar none, Letsile is the clear favorite in this race. I think that's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Letsile is the clear favorite in this race. But you have a couple different storylines behind Letsile. And obviously anything can happen, whatever. But like, I think we can agree Letsile is the favorite. Now, Tate Taylor coming off running 19.9 on 2 occasions this year, right? Like, he's run sub 20 twice this year. And he has not been scared, right? Like, Tate Taylor has not been scared of anyone throughout this year. So listen, of any NCAA athlete, but he's not been scared of no one. So Tate Taylor, and he just ran 19.9 on this track, a week or two ago. So he's going to be in some great form. Shout out to Courtney Lindsay. Obviously, he's made 2 teams so far for the United States, 2023 individually, and then 2025. So, he could show up here. Brian Lavelle, he's making his return after dealing with some injury setbacks. I actually was surprised to see, Brian in this 200, but we'll see. Question marks. The last time we saw him was in Rabat, where, all due respect, like that was definitely clear injury. He finished like 7th or 8th place, like wasn't doing well. So we'll see what he does here. Adrian Carr for Jamaica. He's been a consistent mainstay the past kind of year or two for Jamaica. So, definitely a good addition to the field. Zarnell Hughes just won British Champs, running 20.0 into a slight headwind, if I'm correct, or into a decent headwind. So, Zarnell, exactly. Zarnell just ran 20.0 at Nationals. So Zarnell, I think, is also pretty dangerous in this field. Like, he's pretty dangerous in this field. When we're looking at, the 200-meter guys, Tate Taylor, 19.8, I think that's not too far-fetched. Okay, Sam Blaskowski. Brandon Hicklin, he also just ran sub 20 down in Florida. Maka Charamba, he ran 19.8 down in Texas, and he's been looking pretty consistent, all things considered. Sam Blaskowski, now, he's the find of 2026, right? He also just ran sub 20 down in Florida, along with Brandon Hicklin. So I think the different storylines, question marks, it'll be interesting. Obviously, number one is lane draw. What does lane draw look like? how does Sam Blaskowski fare? Because he has been riding a lot of momentum. I do agree. My bad. Yeah, wish Sam Blaskowski was in the 100. I think I would have wanted him in the 100. I feel like the 200 was like, yo, we can't put you in the 100, so here's a spot in the 100, in the 200. But yeah, but I like, okay, negative 0.5 for Zarnell's 20.04. Thanks for that call out. So yeah, and yeah, Nike putting Sam in the 200 instead of the 100. Like, we just have to be honest. Sam, yes, he ran that 9.8, but like, it's hard to give him a lane over some of the more high profile athletes. It just is in the 100, right? You have Oblique, you have Kenny, you have Ajay. Like, you have just so many guys who are in the 100 that I don't think they could have put him in a 100. Maybe he tried to, for sure, but it's like, the attention, but it is what it is. So Kenny is not running this 200. Sam Blaskowski, how does he do? Does he run another sub 20? And is he able to run 19.8? Who knows, right? Maka Charamba, how does he fare against these guys, right? He beat out a high quality field in Texas, and he's held his own relatively well on the circuit last year. So he's someone who I think is rising to become a very, very competitive athlete. He made the final in 2024, missed it in 2025 at the Worlds. So we'll see, what's up. Brandon Hicklin, I think similar situation with Sam. Does he get under 20 seconds? How does he fare against his field? Zarnell Hughes, I'll say this. I think Zarnell Hughes, out of anyone in this field, Tate Taylor is hard to assess, but I think Zarnell Hughes is probably the second or third most likely to finish behind Letsile in this race. I look at Letsile, obviously best, but then I look at Tate Taylor, Zarnell Hughes, Maka Charamba, and then Courtney Lindsay. I haven't been as impressed with Courtney in 2026, but I would just look at Zarnell Hughes as someone who's very dangerous. Like, considering what he just did at British Champs and how he performs, like, we've seen him run very fast, in Prefontaine class. Like, last year in the 100, he ran very well. So I think he can really pop off in this 200 and kind of shock a few people here. Now, I decently, I don't know. I was going to say I agree, but I'm mixed. Hit or miss. I feel like Zarnell actually does show more consistency than people give him credit for, but he can be inconsistent. I feel like in his previous career to me is like 2022 and older, right? I think he was more hit or miss then, but I think in more recent years, he's been a little more consistent. He did deal with injuries in 2024, but I think he's someone who's very dangerous here. Brian Lavelle, honestly, just question marks. I don't know. I don't have like many expectations for him. Courtney Lindsay, I also think he can put up a good performance here. He's run very well at Prefontaine, in previous years and, in general. So keep a lookout for Courtney Lindsay and, home track in the sense of like USA's, Nike track, whatever. But Tate Taylor, I don't even know. Tate Taylor, I think if Tate Taylor finishes second place here, obviously this isn't like the Kenny B's and the Noah Lyles and all that stuff. But if Tate Taylor is able to finish second place to Letsile Teboho here, let alone beat Letsile, if anyone beats Letsile, that'd be a pretty big shock. But more specifically, if it's in a good time. But Letsile, as I think we've seen, Letsile doesn't finish lower than second in any race on the circuit. He doesn't. Like, going back to, I think, 2022 or 2021. But we'll see. But I'm interested to see what Tate Taylor does. Okay, Aaron, you say Teboho 19.5, Zarnell 19.81, Maka Charamba 19.83, Tate Taylor 19.85, Courtney Lindsay 19.88, and Lavelle 20.2. I don't know if we're seeing that many 19.8s, like, and that close, but we'll see. Got Brian second. Brian is not a Nike athlete, so he doesn't have to run. Instead, he chose to. I don't believe he'll be hampered by coming off injury. If he would be, I think he'd go to a low-key meet. Well, maybe. I'm going to be honest, that's the argument that I had for Brian going into the Rabat Diamond League. I said if he wouldn't have lined up, or he would have gone to like a lower key meet again in Jamaica if he wasn't in good form. But then in Jamaica, he runs 10.3, and then he goes to Rabat and finishes 8th place running 20 point something. So like, I don't know. So that's why I say, like, I don't have I just don't know about Brian. Like, I can't even set expectations. Like, he literally could finish second, or he can finish eighth in this race. Like, it's a question mark for me. And either of them I would not be surprised with. So, it is what it is. But that's a good thought. If Zarnell has a good lead after the first 100, I think he'll place second or first. Yeah, I think Zarnell is maybe the guy who's a little more dangerous than anyone else in this field. Or maybe not dangerous, but I think people might sleep on Zarnell. Like, don't be surprised if he finishes second place, he runs 19.8, and it's like, wait, where did Zarnell come from? Nah, like, he has that talent to do it, right? It could happen. So, and again, he's coming off a very good performance at British Champs. So, I don't know. We'll see what's up with Zarnell. And then, yeah, keep an eye out for Makacharamba. Again, in my opinion, behind Letsile, it's like Zarnell Hughes, Makacharamba, Tate Taylor, those three. And then I look at like Courtney Lindsay, Sam Blaskowski, Brandon Hicklin. I don't know. It's a little more mixed, but Letsile, I think, he's a guy. And I think, like most people, it's is what it is. So Taboho has been in the US training for a while now. He's already acclimated to the conditions there. Nobody will beat him in that race. He's going 19.6, and no one else will run faster than 19.8. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he runs 19.6 here. He ran 19.7 last year, and I don't know if he's in better form, but like, I don't know. I think I'm just more interested, actually, what the gap from Letsile looks like, right? How close do all these guys get to Letsile? And then thinking about the time. So we'll see. All right. Let's move over. Let's talk about this 100. So women's 100. And again, I'm not talking about the men's 100 today because I already spoke about it last time. It's the same fields. The field hasn't changed, right? Everyone that we've seen is in this field. Ajayi, Kenny B, Akeem Blake, Trayvon Bromell, Christian Coleman, Lucky Kennedy, Gifli Lela, Saminu Oblique-Seville. So check out the live that I did last week. Let's talk about this women's 100. If you have questions about the men's 100, maybe afterwards. Oh, no, my bad. That's a final. Okay, so they have heats for, let me see. So they have heats for this women's 100. Two heats, and then it goes over to, what do you call it? My bad. Let me just get this. Okay. It goes over to the final. So in this field, very stacked. Dean Asher-Smith, Celera Barnes, Jasani Carter, Tia Clayton, and Tina Clayton. So both twins. Tamari Davis, Deja Haj, right? NCAA champion. You have Amy Hunt, the British champion. You have Shericka Jackson, right? Jamaican champion. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, world champion. Jemima Joseph. You have Favor O'Feely, Jenna Prandini, Sha'Carri Richardson, Janelle Smith, Cambria Sturgis, and Kayla White. It's a good field. This is a stacked field. So you'll have 9 women who go into the final. 9 different women. Now, I think, okay, well, we'll just start I'm just going to start at like the general top, right? Like, for me, the storyline is like Sha'Carri Richardson, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Shericka Jackson, Adeja Haj, and then Tia. The reason I'm pausing on Tia Clayton is because, like, I don't know, like, she's been mixed, right? She ran 10.91, and then she got in. Well, I don't know if she got injured, but like, she just didn't go to Jamaican champs. So I don't know. But Tina Clayton, we know she's in excellent form. So just to highlight, Sha'Carri Richardson, she just ran 10.77. Now, well, she ran 10.98 in LA, then she ran 10.77 down in Florida at her home meet. Prefontaine Classic, this is like her meet. Well, no, let me not say that. I just saw something on NBC where they did like Sha'Carri, Melissa, Sha'Carri, and then, Shericka, the past, 3 years of Prefontaine Classic. But Sha'Carri runs fast in Eugene. Like, she just runs fast. So I think we're going to see her replicate that 10.7, but then that's a question on, does that beat Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, right? Melissa, she just, in her first 100 of the year, she ran 10.84. And we saw what she did last year, not running down. She held off Julian Alfred. And that was probably one of her bigger races throughout the year, right? Because it was a big thing. But then Shericka Jackson is back in form. 10.81 at the Jamaican trials. Effectively, Sha'Carri, her 10.77 with a slight tailwind, and then Shericka with her 10.81 with a slight headwind, they basically ran the same race, right? If you convert things, it was like close. I think it was close, whatever. So these three women, Shericka, Melissa, Sha'Carri, all in good form. Add in Tina Clayton, and Tina Clayton 10.85 twice this year. She's someone, who's okay. How is she going to fare against, some of the other women? But then you have Adeja Hajj. Adeja Hajj is the absolute wild card. And I see a couple of y'all, I know y'all like 10.5 here. Like, oh no. Like, the thing is, Adeja Hajj, I think, is an absolute wild card. And I know I said this about Alyssa Jones, but I think in terms of like NCAA athletes who actually do well here, who are coming off NCAAs, I think we're looking at Alyssa Jones in the long jump and then Adeja Hajj here. I actually think Adeja has a good possibility of upsetting this field. And I know she has the world lead, but I think if Adeja wins this, it's an upset to me because she peaked. I don't know. She was competing at NCAA champs, but she hasn't yet shown her ability to compete with the top athletes in the world, right? So I don't know. I don't know if Adeja, I don't know. I think Adeja Hajj is a big wild card in this field. Big wild card. I don't know. Adeja Hajj not consistent. Adeja has been very consistent this year. Like, she's been scarily consistent. Like, actually, though. Obviously, yes, the 100-meter final at NCAAs, that didn't go well. But I don't know. I think Adeja is very dangerous here. Like, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Yeah, exactly. Aaron's right. Like, she had one bad race this year. So that's what, on the top end, we'll talk about some of the other women as well. But like on the top end, Sha'Carri, how does she do in definitely her most high profile race since, I would argue, since the Olympics? Well, I guess since, after the Olympics, she went to the Diamond Leagues like Zurich and Brussels. But I would argue this is probably her most high profile race since the Olympic Games in 2024. Because yes, she went to the World Champs last year and made the final. And yes, she ran in like Brussels, but like, I think we understand. Let me not say we. I look at that as having been injured throughout the year and building up to that sub 11. I think that the World Champs where she ran 10.9, that was probably the first sub 11 she ran in 2025. I think for Sha'Carri, considering now that she's back in 10.7, yeah, I think Worlds in 2025 was the first time Sha'Carri ran sub 11 last year, and the only time. But someone cross-check me. But so essentially, I think this race for Sha'Carri is actually her most high-profile race since the Olympics in 2024. I know that feels like a lot of pressure, but like, I'm just saying it in terms of like the attention and the form that she's in now, having run 10.7, and how good everyone is. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is good. She's on par right now with what Sha'Carri has done. Shericka Jackson is on par right now. You know what I'm saying? Adeja Hajj is like, Adeja Hajj is different. You know what I mean? Tina Clayton, in my opinion, is on par, maybe just a step behind because she's run 10.85 twice. So that's what I look at for Sha'Carri. How does she perform here? But then I don't know, man. Melissa, I don't know, man. Melissa, obviously, she dominated last year. And for me, I was like, okay, you dominated last year. What are you going to do when you step up in 2026 now? In my opinion, her 22-1 behind Julian in Rome, great performance. Faster, that like was way ahead of pace of what she did last year in the 200. Then her 100 in 10.8. Like, I don't know, man. Melissa might be the favorite in this race. But then Shericka is riding a high. Shericka has a lot of momentum. Like, gets to Jamaican trials, runs 10.81, is feeling confident, feeling good, and her mindset. Like, she's saying that, like, I'm actually being a little bit more measured about how I'm approaching this year. And I think that is going to bode well for Shericka here. I also think there's an aspect here for Sha'Carri where it's like, Sha'Carri is dangerous, but Shericka is dangerous. But then Adeja, I just don't know. I honestly don't know what to think of Adeja. I really don't know what to think of Adeja Hajj. Like, I don't know, man. There's a world where Adeja, she can finish like down the pack, or she can win. She can blow this race out the water. I think like on, complete opposite ends. And yes, Ozzy, we're not focused on Shericka enough. Let me be clear. Every woman, and my bad, I'm gonna get to some of the other comments, but like in my opinion, this is my personal opinion. I think Sha'Carri, Melissa, Shericka, Adasia, I think those 4 women, I'm maybe a little hesitant on Tina. I'm going to say Adasia, Shericka, Melissa, and Sha'Carri. I think those 4 women, if any of them win, it is not a surprise to me. I think any of them can win, and it would not be a surprise. Tina Clayton as well, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise. But I think if anyone else wins, that would be like, okay, that's kind of a shock. But for all intents and purposes, to me, Sha'Carri, Melissa, and Shericka are on even playing fields based on what we've seen in 2026. Maybe no, because Sha'Carri ran 10-7. Nah, I think they're all on even playing fields based on what we've seen in 2026. But Adasia is such a wild card to me. Like, she is such a wild card. So it's so hard. Like, as people said, let's be clear. If Adasia Haj, let's say Sha'Carri Richardson, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Shericka Jackson, they all run 10-7-5. Let's just say they all tie at 10-7-5. But then Adasia Haj runs 10-6-0. I don't think that would be surprising to anyone. But then on the flip side, if Adasia Haj in that same race where everyone ran 10-7 and Adasia Haj ran like 10-9, I don't think that would be a surprise to anyone either. Like, I think it's just all over the place with Adasia. And not to say she's all over the place, it's just that she's so much of a wild card because she ran that 10-6-3 and she's been consistent through the NCAA season, and we just know the talent she has. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I'm not like sleeping on Adasia. But yeah, and this is the thing, and I'm seeing all the different comments. But like, think of Adasia Haj. She ran 10-7-7 at what you call it? She ran 10-7-7 at Tom Jones. She ran 10-8 and 10-9 at regionals, and then she ran the 10-6 at NCAAs, and of course ran, you know, the 10-9 to get second place in NCAA final. But as some of you are saying as well, right? Like, this is her first, we'll technically call this her first like big race, right? It's her first pro race. Obviously, she went to the World Champs in 2023. She was at the Olympics, right? In 2024. Yeah, she was at the she was at the Olympics because World Juniors, where she got her thing DQ'd, was after the Olympics. But this is her first big race. And yes, Adasia Haj had that win, that plus 1.9. Why can't that happen again? Like, I don't see a reason why we can't get that win again, right? Like, we can get anything. We can get anything. You know what I'm saying? So we can get any type of win. So I don't know. And this is why I'm struggling. This is why I'm struggling. But before I talk about some of the other women, I'll say this. I'll say this. I can't place Adasia Haj anywhere. I genuinely don't know. What I'm gonna say is, I think Melissa is maybe my slight favorite, like marginally favorite in this race. But then I think, and this is gonna be a cop-out, I think Sha'Carri and Shericka are like just evenly matched at this point. If anything, I don't know. If I was gonna say, if anything, I might have Shericka with a slight edge over Sha'Carri because of momentum, but then I'm also not sure because Sha'Carri ran that 10-7 and this is now Prefontaine. So I don't know. But I think for me personally, I feel like Melissa, I'm going to give her like a slight edge, but I think Shericka, Melissa, and Sha'Carri are essentially my evenly matched picks. I think like any of them winning, it makes sense. And then also Adasia Haj winning. I think that makes sense. The thing is, I'll say this. I don't know, man. I think Adasia Haj, like, if she, for some reason, if Adasia Haj wins, I just imagine her winning in like a blowout as opposed to like a close race. So I don't know. But yeah, I think Shericka, Melissa, Sha'Carri, those are my 3 like picks of any of them can win, right? Melissa, I feel like maybe has a slight momentum. Just I don't know. But then I think Sha'Carri is going to be very dangerous because she ran that 10-7-7. Prefontaine is big for her. She's like back. This is one of her biggest races. Shericka Jackson coming off the thing. But I'll say this. I'm only saying Melissa is the winner. I can't pick after that. But yeah. Oh my gosh, the live stream gonna be hilarious afterwards. Let me just highlight again. I also think Tina Clan is in that realm too. But the thing about Tina is that after she lost to Shericka at trials at Jamaican National Champs, I'm more hesitant to say, okay, she's definitely like in the Shericka, Melissa, Sha'Carri conversation. Right. So that's why I'm a little hesitant on Tina. Same thing. I mentioned Tia at the top where it's like, oh, and actually, let me get to that question about who I think gains the most. I mentioned T at the top. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna get to my bad. Hold up a second. I'm gonna get to this comment. I'll get to this comment in a second. About who I think gains the most from winning, and you think Sha'Carri. I'll mention this. Tia Clan. I think she'll probably. I think she's gonna show up here and actually do relatively well. I just am unsure to a degree. Similar to like Brian Lavelle, as I was talking about in the 200, but unsure a little bit. Dean Asher Smith, I think, she ran well. She ran decently well at the British National Champs, right? She ran 11-1, but I will be interested to see how she does here. She's going to need she'll need a big performance to like really, step up and be in contention with, I guess, some of the other top women, obviously. But like, can she get under the 11-second barrier? And where does she finish amongst the other women? That's my question. Amy Hunt, obviously, she's been on a roll, just won British champs. She just ran sub 11 seconds. So we'll see how she actually does fare. It'd be dope if she runs another personal best. I think not if, but like this is a place where Amy Hunt needs to like assert herself if she wants to get under 11 seconds again. She'll probably do it later on in the season, but like take advantage of this race because this race is not going to come, many times throughout the year, if at all, until World Ultimate. So, definitely keep a lookout for Amy. I think she'll be. I think Amy Hunt, Favor O'Feely, Kayla White, Cambria Sturgis. I think those women are probably like the ones who are like outside of the top women, right? So when I look at Sha'Carri Richardson, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Shericka Jackson, Tina Clan. After that, again, Tia Clan, I just have question marks to be honest. But I actually look at Amy Hunt, Favor O'Feely, Tamari Davis as well. I know she ran sub 11. Jonelle Smith, Cambria Sturgis, Kayla White. Some of these women I look at as like, okay, these are the ones who are like just behind the top tier that we all have been talking about. I wouldn't sleep on Jonelle Smith as well. This is a big opportunity for her. I don't think she's ever run in Prefontaine. She's been very consistent this year. She's going to crazy take. Yes, Cambria Sturgis will get second. I love Cambria Sturgis. That's the homie. Second place is crazy, bro. Like, I don't know, but she's run fast this year. Let's be clear. She's been having a dream season. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. But Jonelle Smith, she's been having a great year as well. Jenna Prandini, she started off well in the United States. When she went over to China, a little more mixed. And then when she went over to Europe, a little more mixed. It's not, I don't know. I guess I'm unsure about Jenna Prandini. I would be very Favor O'Feely is a wild card to me here. Not like an Adeja Haj wild card, obviously, but like someone who, in that final, she could be like finishing fourth place again behind the top women: Sha'Carri, Melissa, Shericka, Tina. Well, fifth place maybe Adeja Haj, right? Like Favor is someone to look out for. I'm gonna be honest. Apologies, I'm not familiar with Jemima Joseph. So yeah, unfortunately not familiar. And then Tamari Davis and also Jasani Carter, apologies, also not familiar. Celera Barnes, someone to definitely keep a lookout for, but she's been pulling out of a bunch of races, so unsure. Again, unfamiliar with Jasani Carter, but shout out to Carter here. Tamari Davis, someone to look out for as well. And then just last one before we circle back to just some of the other narratives. Kayla White. So Cambria Sturgis, she's been having a dream season. I think she's also a kind of wild card. Very dangerous. Could really show up here. But, we'll see how she does perform. Kayla White has also been having a good year. She made the team last year in the 100. She really stepped things up. Kayla White is another one where it's like, oh, if she finishes, top 5 here, I would not be surprised, right? And obviously anything can happen, but like I'm not breaking the Sha'Carri, Melissa, Shericka, let's say Adeja as well. Like I'm not breaking that up, but Kayla White, don't sleep. Do not sleep on Kayla White. That's a homie as well. So yeah, I do want to get to just the one question here. So who do you think gains the most from winning? So you think Sha'Carri? I actually completely agree. Yeah, I actually completely agree. And I'll say this, I don't know how to assess it, but like I think in general, the world, and even myself to a degree as well, is sleeping on Sha'Carri, right? Because like I said, this is probably her biggest race to me since the Olympic Games in 2024, since that Olympic final, her biggest 100-meter race. Because last year she was injured, but now she's like back running. She ran that 10.7. And I think if she wins this race, this is a true like, oh, I'm back. Because I know in previous years it's like the I'm not back, I'm better thing. But like prior to 2023, Sha'Carri just hadn't done anything on the global stage to say, okay, you are like, and obviously she had run the times and all that, but like you got to beat people when it matters the most. And she hadn't done that until 2023. Obviously, she won Olympic trials in 2021, all that. She was winning a bunch of races on the circuit 2022. But like it wasn't until 2023 where she really kind of like stepped up and was like, okay, Sha'Carri is like for real. Because even I'll say this, when I was in Budapest in 2023, as she was already having a legendary year, but like as she was going through the rounds and before that final, I was talking to some people. I was like, we were like, yo, what if Sha'Carri wins this? Like, what if she wins this? Because she had not done quote unquote anything before 2023. So all of this is to say, this to me, if Sha'Carri wins this race here, this would be a true like, yo, I'm back. Like I'm injuries, woes, I'm out of here. And I just beat the world champion. I just beat the 2-time silver medalist, right? Obviously 2022 and 2023. I just beat the silver medalist, right? I just beat the world leader. Like if Sha'Carri is able to do that, I think she has the most to gain. And in like the public perception, because of also all the crazy stuff that happened, off the track last year. It's like if Sha'Carri does it, it's like, yo, she's back. Like for real. Because that 10.7 she ran in Florida, it was like low-key me. I only saw one angle, like a head-on straight angle from it. So I don't know. But I think Sha'Carri, and then I think my bad. I missed the comment, but someone did say Adeja Haj. I think Adeja is next in terms of like who has the most to gain. Because if Adeja Haj, oh yes, my bad, Ozzy. Adeja Haj gains the most from it. If Adeja Haj beats this field, and honestly, I don't even care what time. Let's say no one breaks 11 seconds, but Adeja Haj wins. I think that is a big performance as well, because that backs up what it's like it justifies what she did throughout her NCAA season and that 10.63. Because you would, in this case, she would have beaten out essentially all the top women you could beat, right? Yes, you don't have like Elaine or Julian, but like if Adeja Haj wins this race, that's gonna be like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but that's big. Because the thing for me with like Shericka and Melissa, I think if they win the race, I don't think it will. Even with Sha'Carri, I feel like because Sha'Carri has a talent, but I think truly with Melissa and Shericka, it's like it wouldn't be so surprising. It's like, oh nah, obviously Melissa just dominated last year. Oh yeah, Shericka, she's like dominating. Obviously Shericka is also back, but I feel like Sha'Carri, this is like, okay, she's back because of how how polarizing she is and how well known she is. And she didn't even run again. She only broke 11 seconds once last year in the World Championship final. Shericka, at least she ran 10.8 twice last year. So there's that. Sha'Carri and Adeja, I think, have the most to gain, in my opinion. But as we've been saying, hold up. My bad. I know the oops. Okay, my bad. If the connection went off a bit, my bad. If it goes off again, I'm gonna circle back. But what you call it? We're back. The thing is, yes, Adeja Haj had a long NCAA season, but I don't know, man. I don't know. She's just a wild card, bro. She's just a wild card. Like we've been saying, she's an absolute wild card. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, man, this 100-meter field is stacked. And I know someone asked when it's happening. This is going to be on Saturday. This is 12:32 p.m. West Coast time. So that's going to be 3 p.m. East Coast time on Saturday, July 4th. So that's the women's 100. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Yes, yeah. So yes, and honestly, this is why I say, and so just to read, the same logic you used to shake Sha'Carri would gain the most. Shericka is also coming back from injury since 2024 as well. Yes, 100%. But the reason I'm thinking about it a little bit different is because of how the public perception, right? So Shericka, look at what Shericka did last year, where Shericka in 2024 she got injured and she was injured in 2025. But Shericka ran 10.8 on 2 occasions last year. She ran 10.88 at Jamaican trials, and she ran 10.88 at the World Championship final when she got 4th. And she got a medal in the 200, right? She got the bronze medal in the 200. So I think, and along with that, Shericka ran the 21.87, right? 21.87 at the one of the Chinese Diamond Leagues. So I think essentially Shericka has had a little bit more time to like get back into the public spotlight of like, okay, like she's already back. For me, once Shericka ran the 21.8, I was like, she's back. Like if she's running 21.8, it's like she's back. I think Sha'Carri, and because she did it at a Diamond League race, right? And then of course she ran the 10.81 to win Jamaican trials at Jamaican trials. But Sha'Carri, she ran her 10.7 at a low-key like home meet in Florida where there was one angle of her race, right? From the start. It's like it was crazy. So I think if Sha'Carri had run 10.7 at the LA Grand Prix, I think that would have been a bigger kind of like Shericka equivalent thing, right? But I in general, there's aspects I do agree with. Like if Shericka wins this race, it's like, and especially if Shericka beats out Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, that is a big deal. I think that's a massive deal. I think if Shericka coming back from injury and all that, but yeah, so there that's like the nuance that I'm giving. If that kind of makes sense. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, okay, so yeah, exactly. This is essentially what I'm saying. I think Shericka's 21.8 was her true statement race because that was a Diamond League final, or not final, my bad. Diamond League race. And it was like it was big. It was like, hold up, she's back under 22 seconds and like looked good early. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that to me was like her statement race. But yeah, okay. I think, and someone noted this earlier, right? So Sha'Carri, if Sha'Carri doesn't get a good start, that's going to be an issue because I don't know if Sha'Carri is going to run down Melissa, Shericka, if Adasia gets a good start, even Tina Klein, if she gets a good start. That's going to be the problem for Sha'Carri. But then if Sha'Carri gets a good start, then we have a whole conversation, right? On like that, I think it just makes it up in the air. So it's a good point. And yes, okay, this is a good point. Sha'Carri winning will basically hype up the internet. I get what you're saying. The headlines will go crazy. Yeah, like because look, the internet didn't go crazy when Sha'Carri ran that 10.77, right? I actually think the internet went crazier when she ran. Well, I don't know if it's crazier, but like just her 10.9 in LA was a bigger deal because it was a bigger meet, right? On NBC, all that stuff. If she runs, and someone cross-check me, from my understanding, I think this is on NBC as opposed to on like the Diamond Leagues being on Flow Track. I'm pretty sure that it's on NBC. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but regardless, like I think it's a big deal. Okay, yes, it's on NBC. Yep. Like, yeah, this is a one Diamond League that I think gets separated out. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and yes, Sha'Carri has run. And yes, thanks. Yeah, my bad. I was remembered. But yeah, Sha'Carri has run down Shericka. She did it in 2023 a lot, but her start is still questionable. And that's also why I was frustrated with that race in Florida because we didn't have a video of her start, right? Like we only had a head-on shot of her start, so we didn't even see if she got a good start. Like it was a whole question mark. So I don't know, but I don't know, man. Yeah, that was a contract. Yeah, with Flow Track. Yeah, that was the one that they pulled out. NBC Peacock. Aaron, you are wilding. You are wilding, Aaron. Like no one's already. He said 10-3, 10-3, which is wild. Okay, so Sha'Carri's 200 endurance, I don't think is there yet. Yeah. I think I generally agree. I'm maybe mixed on it. I did, even though she ran 22.4s in her Diamond Leagues in China, those were pretty good to me. Those are pretty good, all things considered, for like early in the season. So I wonder where she's at now. Like if she ran a 200 now, I don't know. But it's a good, like she's not on, obviously she's not on. Yeah, I don't think she's on, wow. In the 200 right now, she's not on like a Deja Haj, Shericka, or Melissa level. So yeah, that's a question mark. But in terms of the, yeah. Okay. Do I still have Jordan Coleman, Jordan Anthony running 9.6? I think he has the tools to run 9.6, but I'm not predicting him to. I also think that I've overhyped him a little bit because he's been losing these races. But I also have said that I don't think he's a medal threat until he actually wins a medal. So that's a whole discussion. But yeah, shout out to you, Random. Good to see you. Sha'Carri had a good start in Budapest at the World Champs, right? That was like one of her, like, that was, not only was it a personal best, but that was like her best race. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anderson, I don't know if Shericka, Tia, and Janelle will perform as well. Remember how last year Tina ran 10.81 at trials, then loaded back up and ran 11.02 at pre. Could be the same thing this year. That's a good point. The only difference is Jamaican Prefontaine was 1 week after trials last year, from what I remember. So now they had 2 weeks after. I'll say this. I am more confident in Shericka here than I am in Tina Clan, and obviously Tia and Janelle. I'm more confident in Shericka. I just think Shericka, this is why I say, like, I think Shericka, Melissa, and Sha'Carri are just like a different level of athlete, right? Like, and obviously I did that video where I was saying like Tina is in that level as well, but like they are just proven, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what it is. But yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Y'all are wild in these comments. Okay. Okay, my bad. I know I missed a lot. Let's see. Okay, she's running. Okay, is this Sha'Carri? She's running the 200 at USA's. That'd be interesting. Okay, maybe. I know Kenny B is running the 100. I think Melissa's running the 100. I don't know. Noah, I don't know what Noah is running. He just ran in Paris, but he said his next race is going to be USA's. But at some point earlier in the year, he said that he's probably going to run a 200 sometime in July. So my just connecting dots, maybe that's at USA's, but I honestly have no idea. So I don't know. But if Sha'Carri's running the 200 at USA's, that'd be pretty good. But you know, all these athletes, they're already solidified for World Ultimate Champ. So you know, we'll see. Yeah, some of these comments I'm just ignoring. So like we're not even entertaining some of these comments because y'all be too crazy. Okay, so yeah, I think Noah's doing the 200 only. That's my assumption. He hasn't been like 100% clear, but like connecting some dots, it seems like he is. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, so we can move over and we can move over and just leave the 100. That was Prefontaine. But to just get to some, actually, my one question that I do have is this is a general question. Actually, before then, if Juju was in this race, where would she have placed? I don't know. If Julian was in this race, I don't know. I think like I honestly don't know. To me, Julian would have just been right in the mix with like Melissa, Shericka, Sha'Carri, and Adasia. Like I think it would have been a wash. Like all of them are in the same conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. So yeah, Julian would have just been. I would have just been flipping a coin. Yeah, I don't know, second or third. But the thing is, even with second or third, like I'm not even confident. Even though I said Melissa, I feel like has a slight edge. I'm not even sure of that. Like I'm not even sure. There's even part of me right now that's like Sha'Carri could win this. Will probably win. I don't know. I don't know. And I know I'm like teetering, but like I genuinely don't know. But yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, that's 100. We'll see what's up. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end up going live after this meet on Saturday, most likely because I should be free. But yes, definitely prayers to Coach Frano. Hold up, let me see. Prayers to let me see if I can bring this up. So let me just bring this up because this is like, oh, why did I do that? Hold on. I got you. So I'm gonna put this on the screen in a second. Don't worry. And I know who else said this. Yeah, prayers to Coach Frano. So if y'all haven't heard, let me put this on the screen here. So if y'all haven't heard, so Stephen Francis. So this is a statement from MVP Track Club. So there were some rumors floating around, maybe over the past couple weeks. Well, at least let me say this. From what I've heard, there were some rumors floating around that there were some health issues with Coach Frano. Then MVP Track Club, because I think the rumors were just like floating too much, they put out a statement. And I'll just read this very quickly, just for context. The MVP Track Club is issuing the statement in response to public interest regarding our co-founder and technical director, Stephen Francis, who is currently receiving medical care in hospital. Mr. Francis is under the care of a dedicated team of medical professionals, and he and his family are grateful for the excellent treatment and support being provided. While there has been understandable concern regarding his well-being, Mr. Francis has requested that the details of his medical condition, diagnosis, treatment, and prognosis remain private. The club respectfully asks that his wishes be honored. So, yeah, and I'll also, if you're watching this after the fact, I'll link it in the description. This is just on the MVP. Like they posted this on Twitter, they posted it on Facebook, I think on Instagram, like MVP Track Club, they post this everywhere. So yeah, Stephen Francis, he's in the hospital. He's been in the hospital. Yeah, I'll say that. Like I think definitely prayers for Coach Francis. Like there's, yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. Definitely prayers for Coach Francis. Hopefully, he's able to get good treatment. Hopefully everything is able to go well. Yeah, like because it's kind of scary. And so just for context, I was actually thinking about this, like, Stephen Francis, obviously, I think most of us understand that like he is a legend, but even more so, and let me just Stephen Francis, track coach. Oh yeah, I was checking his age, but let me just see. Let me just put track coach. So I just want to put a picture of just for context. But Stephen Francis is like a legend, like an absolute legend in track and field, and like even more so in so many ways, right? So obviously we know what he's done to help Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Elaine Thompson-Herah, Shericka Jackson early days, and then she moved to like Paul Francis. But then even beforehand, he had, what do you call it? You had Asafa Powell, you had Michael Frater, Nesta Carter, I think trained with him at one point as well. And then now you have the likes of the Clayton twins, you have Kashane Thompson, you have all these athletes, right? But then what's even more impressive, well, not even more, on top of that, what's also impressive is like the coaches that he's brought up under him who have gone on to start other endeavors, right? So you look at Ronaldo Walcott, who trained Shelly-Ann to the 10-6s back in 2021, and for that time period. And in 2022, Ronaldo Walcott came out of the MVP group. You have Shaniki Osborne, who now trains Brian Lavelle, came out of that MVP group, right? So I think of that where he's built up kind of like he's planted all these different trees within Jamaican track and field to really build up, the nation into what it is now. And obviously I think most of us understand it's like Stephen Francis with MVP and then Glenn Mills with Racers Track Club, right? Like those have been the two core track clubs in Jamaica. But like Stephen Francis has a very, very strong legacy in terms of being able to build up athletes and build up a foundation for coaches to go on and be successful on their own. So yeah. Oh, and yeah, this is a good point. I'm just looking, right? So Bridget Foster Hilton, Wait, my bad, didn't come up. Bridget Foster Hilton, Melaine Walker, Tajay Gale. They also won gold medals under him. There's a bunch of other athletes as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of other athletes as well. So Stephen Francis is like, he's a GOAT, right? It's undeniable. He's a GOAT. When you talk about legendary coaches, right? You look at, you talk about the John Smiths, you talk about the Brooks Johnsons, you talk about the, obviously now we have like athletes like, coaches like, Lance Brahman, you have a Dennis Mitchell, right? You have like all these other athletes, all these coaches in the United States. And then of course, Bobby Kersey as well, right? Tanja Buford, like tons of coaches, but in Jamaica, Glenn Mills, Stephen Francis. And Stephen Francis has had a like conveyor belt of athletes, like conveyor belt. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the absolute GOAT, like a literal GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, top 15. He might be top. I mean, are we talking about 5 coaches better than Stephen Francis? If we just want to talk of accolades in terms of like how many athletes have won medals under him, like, are we saying like how many coaches are actually above Stephen Francis? And obviously talking about the sprints, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I feel like he's top 5. I feel like he's top 5. Because so when you said top 15 coaches all time, I was actually going to say top 10. But then I was like, nah, are we saying 5 coaches better than Stephen Francis? Now, obviously we can look through, all time, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I don't know, man. Because even just for context, like, I mean, okay, so random. I actually respect this. That's why I said I hesitated with the top 10. And then maybe I feel like top 5, because think about it. Just on a basic level, he as the coach, right? With the athletes, he won every gold medal in the women's 100 meters from 2008 all the way up to 2021, right? Like he won every single gold medal. And then you add on the additional medals with Shelly in 2016 getting the bronze, Elaine in Shelly getting the bronze in 2016, and then Shelly getting the bronze, the silver in 2021, right? But then the thing that I also factor in is like the other coaches that he's like been able to spring up under him, right? So this is, I ain't mad. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't mad at like any of these names, right? So Bobby Kersey, John Smith, Glenn Mills, Lance Brahman. John Smith is kind of crazy. John Smith is goated. Bobby Kersey's goated. Glenn Mills, yeah. The thing is like, okay, and Lance Brahman. So John Smith, Bobby Kersey, Glenn Mills, I have zero argument. But Glenn Mills, yeah. I got to think about Glenn Mills though. Glenn Mills goated, but like, I don't know. Okay, well, let me pause. The only reason I'm pausing slightly on Lance Brahman. Nah, can I? I don't know, man. It's tricky. I guess I'm not even mad. I feel like with all these different coaches, it's like picking a top 5 rappers of all time, right? Like, you can almost mix and match when you put like a top 10 together, like it gets hard to mix and match. So the reason I paused for a second on Lance Brahman, I was like, okay, I know he's done a lot, but then I started to like think of all the names and I'm like, nah, he's done a lot. And then the reason I paused on Glenn Mills is like, okay, I started to think of the names and I'm like, nah, he's done a lot. Like it just becomes a game of like, I don't know, pick your tools, like pick who you want. I'm actually not going to argue with someone if you say, okay, Stephen Francis is top 10 or top 5. Or if you have him as number 1, like I can't argue with it. Like, I think on a baseline, he is like one of the greatest, like, you know what I'm saying? But the thing that I think is very, very, what do you call it? I think the thing that that is very, very important. Oh, and actually well, this is a good question. So why do we always leave out the actual head coach of MVP, Paul Francis? So the thing is, Paul Francis, obviously he coaches a bunch of athletes as well, but like there's certain athletes who have had direct connection, right? So for example, for example, like Kashane Thompson, the Clayton twins, Shelly Ann, Elaine, right? Like, I don't think they were under direct tutelage of Paul Francis, whereas Shericka is like her coach is Paul Francis, right? Like if that makes sense. But obviously Paul Francis and Stephen Francis, they founded the group together. And I think they've worked in tandem, but they've had like different athletes in different capacities. So that's why I think people don't talk about, and Paul is maybe a less high profile figure. But what I'll say is that what I've been trying to say, I guess, is that Stephen Francis has brought up, or there's been a bunch of coaches who have come out of MVP, and I guess that does give to the credit of Stephen Francis and like the whatever the systems that he's put together. I don't even know. I can't even say the the words, but yeah, just like, you know, what he's been able to put together. As it relates to, okay, this is kind of like the training philosophy and what we're doing at MVP and all that. And so that's one thing. I know that some other coaches have done the same. I mean, Brooks Johnson, though, we didn't even mention Brooks Johnson. Brooks Johnson is goated as well. That's the thing. Brooks Johnson is goated. Like, I don't know, man. Oh yeah. Methodology. Methodology. Why am I like struggling? Yes, methodology. But yeah, Brooks Johnson is kind of goated too. People sleep on Brooks Johnson, what he did with all like sprinters, hurdlers, everyone. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, both Jamaica and United States turned in medals. Oh, you're talking about, y'all talking about other stuff. Okay. Well, yes. I mean, North American bias, and that's why, yes, random. I know. Yes, that's the thing. I know that there's always going to be some bias, but I think in general, who did Coke Maurice as a prick? Well, okay. When did Wolfgang? When did he coach Maurice as a prick? What time period? Because I know that Marie moved to John Smith. Was it after 92 or after 91, right? Like John Smith coached Marie-José Perec during her golden era, like 95, 96, etc. Like that's when John Smith coached Marie-José Perec. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, Aaron, I'm not mad at that. Like, and that's why I say it's like pick your top 5 rappers of all time, right? It's like, you know, you can say whatever. And like, I know you said like, okay, Lance, Bobby, Glenn, Lance, Bobby, you said Bobby twice. Lance, Bobby, Glenn, Bobby, John Smith all have more medals. Yeah, I guess it's true, but okay, but man, this is where it gets tricky. And this is where I guess like the Glenn Mills and Stephen Francis debate comes in, because Glenn Mills has more medals, but with how many more athletes, right? I think Stephen Francis has a more diverse body of athletes throughout his career, right? So, for example, mentioning Tajay Gale and Melaine Walker and Bridget Foster Hilton across the board, right? That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, actual random. So, right, no medal under him. Yeah, that because I just don't remember when Marie moved over to John Smith. But I remember it was early 90s. I just wasn't sure if it was before her first gold medal in 91 or if it was after. But yeah, she was under. I credit John Smith with Marie-José Perec, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, this is crazy. Between 2008 and 2022, Frano won every 100-meter gold except for two. Well, no. I guess you could say that. To be clear, like Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce after 2021, right? Is it after 2021 or after 2020? But she moved over to Ronaldo Walcott. So those later golds are not from Stephen Francis. But to your point, right? It's like we spoke at the top. It's like the only times 2017 and 2011 with Tori Bowie, 2017, Carmelita Jeter, 2011. Those are the only ones during that entire time period. Like, it's crazy. So, Okay, Glenn Mills does not have more medals. Who lied? Maybe someone lied. I don't know. I just know obviously Glenn Mills has a lot of medals from Bolt, Blake, Oblique Seville. Obviously added a few others in different capacities, but like Frano has crazy medals like throughout his entire career. More male medals. Well, yeah, I mean, but male medals, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about as a coach overall. It's just like if we're with Lance Brahman, he's coached Tyson Gay, he's coached Wallace Spearman. I don't know how long he was with Wallace, maybe 2005, but I'm not sure when Wallace left. But regardless, right? Veronica Campbell Brown, Shauna Miller-Weibo, Noah Lyles, et cetera, Jareem Richards, Tori Bowie. Lance Brahman has across the board. That's what I'm looking at. So when I look at Stephen Francis, it's like Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Herah, but then you also add Asafa Powell, Michael Frater, like all the guys who have medals throughout their career, guys and women. So, I'm mixing everyone. I'm just saying coach overall, right? Bobby Kersey has, medals with, what do you call it? Obviously the Allison Felixes, the Gail Devers, the Joanna Hayeses, Sydney McLaughlin-Floney, but then also like the Sean Crawfords, have medals and all that. So, well, I don't know when Sean Crawford moved to Bobby Kersey, but no American coach has more medals than Frano. Yeah. And also I'll say this as well. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. And I'll actually random, I'll get to that point as well. Like, I'll say this as well. This actually might lend to that point. Like, I think that why I place Stephen Francis so high is because of how he put together such a large group of athletes and was able to bring them to success. We just actually, I know Ready, Set, Go, they just did that interview with English Gardner, and English was talking about how when she went to John Smith and there was that massive group, it was like Carmelita Jeter, Tyson Gay, Richard Thompson, Blessing Okabare, Ryan Bailey. It was like a massive group. And she was talking about how Bobby Kersey, she actually mentioned Bobby Kersey too, but like, John Smith and Bobby Kersey, with all the athletes that they were getting from Nike, John Smith specifically wasn't able to manage that many athletes either at the time or like really at the time, because John Smith, obviously with HSI, he had a whole bunch of athletes. But like Frano has shown that he's been able to do that to a degree, right? Obviously, he has a massive team around him to support, but it's like he's managing Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Herah, Asafa Powell still at the time. Like, he's managing all these athletes to be successful at the same time and actually leading to success, right? And sure, some athletes that we'll probably never know of fall through the cracks and all that. But like, it's hard to say that he isn't bringing up a full body of athletes throughout his tutelage. So that's what I think of. Appreciate you, Aaron. Appreciate the donation. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Okay, so let me read. So Glenn Mills has a world champion in the 1, 2, and 4. Okay, this is a good point. Yes. So obviously he has Bolt, Johan, and then of course Antonio Watson, and then of course what you call it? Of course, wow, what am I forgetting? Johan Blake. Oh, and Oblique Seville. My bad. Oblique Seville. Right. So yes, that's true. But then again, what do you call it? Stephen Francis has, you can say the same, right? Like he had Shelly and Elaine, who both have won multiple gold medals. I call Shelly, well, let's say, yeah, Shelly and Elaine, multiple gold medals in the 100 and 200. Well, Elaine multiple, but then Shelly has the one gold in the 200 in 2013. But then also you go back to Bridget Foster Hilton with her gold in the 100 hurdles. You go back to Melaine Walker with her double gold, right? 2008 and 2009 in the 400 hurdles, right? Like, he has Tajay Gale with the long jump gold. Like that's the thing. That's the thing. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I respect it. And as I said, like, I'm not mad at anyone who doesn't have Frano in top 5. It's like, pick your 5 favorite singers, pick your 5 favorite rappers, pick your favorite artists or whatever. It's like, it is what it is. So I respect like all these different coaches. So it's a whole tricky thing. Let me just note, medal count doesn't make you the best coach. Some of these great coaches just have agreements with shoe companies. Great coaches did grassroots work. When they leave, the gap is felt. So this is actually, I think this is twofold. And this is kind of what I was talking about with Steven Francis, where it's like I feel like he did a lot of work on the ground because of like MVP Track Club is a massive, massive, massive group, right? And tons of athletes are in that group. And he finds these different athletes. Now, I get it works two ways where you look at a group like Dennis Mitchell, right? Dennis Mitchell is a Nike coach. He gets Nike athletes. We had, John Smith, Bobby Kersey, Nike coaches getting Nike athletes. Tandra Buford-Bailey and Lance Brahman, Adidas coaches getting Adidas athletes, right? In Jamaica, it's a similar situation. Now, it's more limited, but you do have Steven Francis with like getting Nike athletes, right? You have Glenn Mills getting Adidas athletes, right? So there is that aspect there, just in different countries. So there it's a balancing act, right? Like I don't think let's put it like this, right? So with Dennis Mitchell, Kenny B went to Dennis Mitchell when he signed with Nike in 2019, right? After junior college. I'm not sure Kenny B becomes the athlete he is without Dennis Mitchell in terms of his coaching, his execution, all that stuff. But if Kenny B doesn't sign with Nike, he doesn't go to Dennis Mitchell, and Dennis Mitchell gets the opportunity to develop an athlete who already is extremely talented, right? Kenny B is extremely talented. He could have probably gone to any other coach and also done very well, but it's just like, it's a give and take, right? You get these talented athletes because you're you're a coach of a sponsor, working with a sponsor, but you also have to be able to hone in and develop those talented athletes. Again, going back to the English Gardner case, right? She signed with Nike and she goes to John Smith with that whole group, but English Gardner maybe doesn't develop. She doesn't develop as she would have maybe expected, dealing with injuries, setbacks, doesn't get attention, et cetera, under John Smith. Maybe if she went to a different coach, she would have gotten, good, better treatment and more support. But then you have Carmelita Jeter, who goes to John Smith and she excels, right? Like you can't deny that Carmelita Jeter is, obviously one of the best ever. So it's a give and take. You have to have a good coach. Like, I don't know. I don't think if you go to like I think most of these coaches are good coaches and they end up working with these sponsors because they are good coaches. So I don't know. So I think it's a give and take, but in general, I do agree with the thought. Oh yeah, and my bad. Good point. So Glenn Mills went 1, 2, 3 at the Olympics in 2012, 1, 2 in the 100. Yeah, I forgot about Warren Weir too. That's a good point. Very good point. And 1, 2 in the 200 in 2013. So yeah, it's you said Franny, top 5. He's the greatest coach that ever lived. Listen, I'm up for the debate. Yeah, listen, it's not close. He made Jamaica the dominant sprint nation in the 21st century. Yeah, man. Oh, objectivity. Did you just count the medals? If you did, 84 and Brahman 60. Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. So Steven Francis, right? He has a whole group across the board, all different events, which is very true. But also, to be fair, you look at someone like Lance Brahman. Well, no, I was going to say Tori Bowie. Lance Brahman coached Tori Bowie in the long jump, but maybe my timeline might be wrong because I know that Tori Bowie left Lance Brahman in, I forget what year, but it might have been 2018-ish. I forget what year. But then Tori Bowie, she goes to the World Champs in 2019 and gets 4th place in the long jump, right? So, but I don't know if he was coaching her at the time, but I do know that he has a talent to be able to coach any athlete. So I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, this is a whole bunch of let me see. Oh, okay. So I assume there are less coaches and track clubs with funding in Jamaica to choose from. Mills doesn't coach many women. So is it not a given Francis ended up with most of the female talent in Jamaica? So that's a good. So yes, I guess that's a good point. That's a good point. I guess now there are more opportunities for different coaching groups, right? So you have the Ronaldo Walcotts, you have the Shaniki Osborns, you have the Michael Fraters, right? So you have, different opportunities across the board. Glenn Mills didn't coach many women at the time. And I'm thinking back in like the 2000s, really the 2000s, right? when Jamaica really started to take off. So yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. Yeah, I guess it's fair. I guess it's fair. But again, it goes back to my point of you still need a good coach to bring those athletes to become high quality athletes. Because all these athletes are talented, but how are you truly going to hone in on their talent and actually bring them to the next level? Like he didn't just make Shelly Ann a good sprinter, right? He made her arguably, in my opinion, definitely the GOAT, right? He made Elaine definitely one of the best all time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think about. I do wonder, and I don't know this, someone, if y'all know Jamaican history, if y'all know, I wonder who coached the women. Oh, no. Merlene. So I was gonna say, I wonder who coached the women in the 90s. Well, I guess the 80s, 90s, right? But they were in the United States, right? Julia Cuppert, Merlene Ottey, Grace Jackson, Beverly McDonald, like the 90s, 2000s. But I guess they were in the United States, right? Someone could cross check me. Glenn Mills had Cron Stewart. When did he have Cron? When was Cron Stewart with Glenn Mills? Really? Are you sure? I was Cron Stewart in well, yes, I know Glenn Mills has been coaching since the 60s. I thought Cron Stewart was in I thought she was in Alabama. I know she was coached by Henry Lowe for some time. Right? I don't know. Okay, Merlene Ottey was with an Italian coach. Okay. Well, okay. Cron Stewart was with Glenn Mills at the end of her career. So, I mean, that's not as fair, right? Like, who coached Cron Stewart from, up until essentially like 2012, right? Like, that's who I'd be thinking about. Okay, yeah. So this is in terms of Lance. Oh, you might be responding to someone with Lance Brahman. So Udodi Onwuzurike, Czech Nachore, Wade Van Niekerk, Wade, let's just say everybody. Noah Williams, Kendall Williams, Elijah Godwin, Jalen Slade. I can think of recently who he's not had success with. Yeah, true. I mean, but the thing is, you could think of mad athletes from every coach who they haven't had success with, right? I think in the United States, certain athletes are going to stand out a little bit more. But like, Coach Francis also had a trillion athletes who he didn't have success with. Glenn Mills had a trillion athletes who he didn't have success with, right? But yeah, I don't know. And the thing that's interesting to me is you're not going to have a whole bunch of American athletes or athletes from around the world going to Jamaica. So I think it's an interesting thing because you are going to have a whole bunch of athletes going to coaches in the United States just because of the nature of the NCAA system and the different resources and infrastructure in the United States. So it's also harder to gauge certain situations, right? What would it look like if after 2005, Wallace Spearman and Tyson Gay were like, yo, we're going to Jamaica to train with Glenn Mills? What would that look like? Because they both signed with Adidas, right? What would that look like? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Okay, if you watch the BBC 1993 Worlds, BBC broadcasters mentions Merlene Ottey's coach. Okay, so I'm gonna circle back. But that's always been interesting to me because Glenn Mills has been coaching forever. Francis has been coaching for a decent amount of time. They started their track club, about 20, 30 years ago. But like, I don't think the idea of athletes, like Jamaican coaches and them getting a profile, I don't think that really got a lot of attention until Asafa Powell came onto the scene. That's when I think it got a lot of attention. So it's interesting to know, like, okay, who's coaching the guys back then? But yeah. Okay. So no American coach comes close to Frano. Just check the stats. I'm gonna be honest. I think John Smith and Bobby Kersey are like really goated. Like really goated. Yeah, Aaron said Bobby Kersey has 3 current world records. I think people forget how many athletes John Smith is goated. John Smith had John Smith was coaching that entire UCLA like dynasty with like you had Steve Steve Lewis, you had Danny Everett, right? You had Kevin Young. Quincy Watts was with John Smith for a little bit as well. And then you move over, and there's a whole bunch of athletes during that time period. And like I just mentioned, with Marie-José Perec, right? So that's like the 80s into the 90s. And then you go into the HSI era, right? That's when you get the Otto Boldens, the Maurice Greens, the John Drummonds, right? The Ingram Millers, right? Like that's when you get that era. And then you go into a whole other era where you get the Carmelita Jetters, right? Like John Smith is goated. And Bobby Kersey is also goated. Like from FloJo, Jackie Joyner Kersey, Gail Devers, Joanna Hayes, like Dawn Harper Nelson, obviously Allison Felix, Sidney McLaughlin. Like there's a lot of goated athletes. You know what I'm saying? Goated athletes that these coaches have worked with. So I don't know. Yeah. People forget that John Smith coached Quincy Watts. Like people forget about that. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so I think Toby has run 12.2 a total of 6 times since she moved to Mills, which is crazy. She only had gone sub 12:30 twice before Mills. Yeah, I think, and remember, this is her last year she won a medal. So yeah, her first year she cooked, and then second year. So listen, Glenn Mills, he did coach Kim Collins. That's a good point. Very good point. So he has a lot of world champions in the 100. Johan Blake, Kim Collins, Usain Bolt, and Oblique Seville. Very true. I forgot about that. Ingram Miller at Worlds 1999, crazy. John Smith, man, like John Smith. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, Bobby Kersey. Listen, Bobby Kersey, he gets a lot of hate, but Bobby is goated. Like Bobby is goated, bro. Oh my gosh. And even John Smith, I did an interview with John Smith back in like 2022 or something, and he was telling me how he got into coaching after, because he was at the 1972 Olympics in the 400 meter final, but he was injured, so he pulled up. And after that, he got into coaching, and he just like took off from then. It was crazy. John Smith, Bobby Kersey are goated. Let me see. Yeah. Quincy ran the 92 Olympics race like a John Smith coach sprinter. Yeah, right. Glenn Mills coach Raymond Stewart. Did he coach him in 1983? When he won not when he won gold, he won bronze, my bad. 1983 men's 100 meter. Raymond Stewart was the first Jamaican athlete to win a 100 meter medal at the world. Oh, wait, not 83. When did he win? Am I bugging? Ray Stewart. Okay. So 1987 is when Ray Stewart. Yeah, the top coaches, man. I don't know. I got to do something on that. But did Ray Stewart, was he coached by Glenn Mills in 1987? Like, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Man. Okay, yes. And I think I agree with you. This is in general why I said like pick who you want, right? So this not about if any American coach is better than Francis. It's the fact, my bad. I'm just gonna close this for now. It's the fact that he is one of the greatest of all time. Not everything is Jamaica versus USA. Take away the country, focus on the accomplishment. Yeah, I agree. So that's like, yes, I generally agree here. Like, I just think you pick whoever you want as like the top 5 or top 10 from anywhere. I think all these coaches are goated. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah. So 87, bronze in 87. So yes, he was coach and silver. Yes, silver in 87. My bad. I also didn't remember. I thought it was 83. But yeah, so he was coached by him since high school. That's crazy, bro. Okay, so so Mills is goated. Mills is goated, bro. Like, Mills. Listen, all these coaches are goated. All these coaches are absolutely goated. Okay, so I gotta head out though. It's been 2 hours. We spent this whole time talking about the coaches. But yes, pray for Coach Stephen Francis again. He's in the hospital. He's definitely just pray for him. Yes, my bad. I gotta close out. It's already been 2 hours, but really appreciate y'all. We're gonna go live after Prefontaine, so stay tuned for that for sure. And yeah, we'll have some stuff coming out in the week. I had jury duty today, y'all. I was like so busy. I was trying to get some other stuff done, but I had my regular work and I had jury duty, which is crazy. But appreciate y'all. And yeah, stay tapped in. We'll be back next time. Definitely on Saturday. I'm gonna go live after the meet. But yeah, appreciate y'all.